Hey, welcome to Twofold Podcast. With your host, Phil.
That's me. I'm Phil.
And Tim.
And Timmy.
What we do is we watch a new movie that comes out, and then we find an old movie and watch them, and to compare them.
Yeah, it's great.
We watched we watched the new Green Knight, and then we watched Excalibur from 1981.
Yeah, Excalibur.
Philip, what kind of podcast this is? This is a
happy podcast where we speak together and talk in unity
and
also
harmony. What else is it? A podcast. You must warn people. And
it's also a very spoiler-happy podcast where we don't care. We just, I remember there was an episode once where we just went to the ending, and it's like a really, secret ending. But we did go through that ending just in the beginning of the podcast. So,
it's just a warning. We don't know if we're going to spoil things. We might spoil things, but it's
warned, fellow knights of the round table.
Yeah, it's a podcast where we kind of just discuss the movie. It's not a review podcast. It's more of a discussion podcast.
What do I have to review?
No.
What am I going to say?
What more is there to review? It's just a friendly chat, and it encourages
friendly chat.
It encourages you as a listener to chat along with your chatty friends.
Yeah, absolutely.
We are also recording in a long time with video on, so we apologize.
See Tim. He's there. It's so funny. It would be wonderful for Tim or I to just take a screenshot of this.
Yeah,
and
it's going to be weird. So we apologize if it's going to be weird.
I'm getting distracted by the video, so I don't know. Maybe that's better.
Too. Who knows? Maybe more emotional. But anyway, Johnny is pointing fingers at the button for the song.
Johnny, point the button. Press it now.
So we'll let him do that. I mean, it makes him happy.
I haven't eaten anything. I haven't eaten anything
since last episode. Phil hasn't eaten anything. Just to make sure.
I've been doing a lot of fasting, premeditated fasting.
Premeditated? What are you, intermittent fat?
Yeah, that's what it was.
Okay.
I hear that Jake's doing that.
Jake's intermittent. Damn it. That's not going to be a good podcast. I can't even get intermitting. What is it?
Intermittent
whatever
fasting.
It is. Yeah, that's fine. Well, just play the song, Johnny. Let's cut it off. Yeah, just save us.
Great song, wonderful. I loved it. Tim,
what's up?
What's up? How are you? How have things been since the old days of 2 weeks ago?
Since the old day 2 weeks ago, autumn is here, which is nice. It's got really cool weather. I made some Balinese today. Perfect for the autumn. Like when it's rainy outside and you have yellow lights and it's like cooler, and then you make this thick, rich Balinese that just and you have a bit of red wine with it.
I see the red wine.
And it's just, you have to eat it, and just makes you want to like lay down on a couch and just watch as the breeze moves. One thing about the apartment that we bought?
Yeah.
My favorite thing is that each of the windows we have, they're pretty big and looks at trees. Like if you lay down on a couch in the living room, or if you lay down on the bed here, or if in the kids' room now, if you lay on the couch, basically what you see a window and you just see trees, like leaves and trees. And just sitting there, just watching this away is like the most comfortable. This is the best bed and sleeping I ever had in my entire life. Like literally, I will fall. I don't think I've ever had trouble falling asleep in this bed. I will literally lay down and just look outside, and because we live in a city, so there's like city, streetlights outside, which then cast a shadow of the trees on the wall that is opposite of the bed here. I just lay down and I look for 5 seconds at those shadows, swing, done. That's it. I don't think I've ever said I can't fall asleep.
Man, you got like a natural,
it's amazing.
What do you call that? A natural way of falling asleep.
A nature's lullaby.
Sedation,
what about you, Phil?
Natural sedation.
How are you doing?
Oh, I've been doing good. I've been doing so much happier now that I'm not baking like a raisin in the sun.
Oh, I was like, well, you had some like commissions? You baking some cakes?
No, just baking some cakes. I'm so glad I'm done with that. My culinary career has been one of wonder within these past 2 weeks. I don't know what you're talking about. Eating mushrooms, puking.
Wow. You ate some bad mushrooms? Mushrooms?
No. I was Tim. I was.
Oh,
referencing
I
the
forgot. Yes, you eat those squiggly little mushrooms and then you make
Actually,
the fox
look,
puke.
it's been. Yeah, no, I've been okay. I'll tell you, there's nothing really that's been going on like personally with me. It's all the same. It's just been cooler, so I've been so happy I wasn't, on fire and sweating all the time. You know what the worst thing is in the summer? You know what the worst thing is when you're when you're sitting down somewhere and you're only like on a tram or you're somewhere indoors. They don't have air conditioning when it's like really hot outside. We're Celsius people, so I'm like when it's 30 or 32 or 33. And then you're sitting down, and then you just feel the sweat trickle down your stomach. I hate it. Every time it happens, I feel like I'm in hell.
Yeah.
I'm in hell.
I'm not a big fan of the sweating either, so unless you got the sea breeze on you.
Yeah. Man, I want to go to the sea before it gets too cold. I'll find out if I can do that. So anyway, listen, Tim, I've been rewatching this wonderful series because a movie, the final film came out. Tim, do you even know what I'm talking about?
I have no idea what the hell you're talking about. The series, final film?
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
Yes. Anime series.
Oh, no, I know nothing of these things.
No. Well, listen, man, the final Evangelion end of the entire thing came out just 2 weeks ago.
What is this like?
That was a
like
trip.
the Christians, they're converting people. What is Evangelion?
Well, Evangelion is a anime that came out in 1995, directed and written by Hideaki Anno, who
1995. Okay.
Yes.
It's been going on since then.
It's been going on. No, actually, it's a complicated. I probably shouldn't have talked about it because it's a very complicated thing to talk about. I don't want to take too much time. But man, it's directed by Hideaki Anno, and this man is quite a personal director. He puts a lot of his life experiences in it. But the thing is that this show is a mecha anime. Mecha, right?
Right, yeah, big robots.
People go into the big robots. And it's kind of an antithesis of what you would expect for mecha, right? You think it's the hero comes in, he's like, I'll take on the bad guys, and he goes in. And, in this case, we have a bleak future where teenagers, only children, adults can't get into these giant robots that were made after what's known as the Second Impact destroyed the world, so they had to rebuild, and they live in Neo Tokyo 3, and not Neo Tokyo, just Tokyo 3.
I'm imagining Pacific Rim for some reason.
It's very Pacific Rim.
Pacific Rim is probably inspired by this?
Yeah,
okay.
Man, this is a very influential anime. In fact, it's one of the most successful and popular anime for some reason, but it's so funny because it's so bleak. It's such a bleak show, and it delves into issues of self-respect, self-awareness, depression. Okay. And it's very internal. The protagonist is a kid who has a strained relationship with his dad, who is the leader of the, not resistance, but like this program that are defending the earth from these interdimensional beings that come once every couple of weeks called angels.
I didn't anticipate every couple of weeks. I was thinking every couple of decades the aliens arrive. I was not expecting just like every week. Dude, here they go again. Dude, gotta fight the aliens.
And they have to get into these built giant robots called Evas. Eva.
Sorry, my daughter's been watching WALL-E every day, so I can't resist.
And these Evas, you can't just get anybody in there. It has to be younger people. It has to be children.
Okay.
Not even children, but like
teenagers.
Teenagers. And this kid, he just doesn't have any, he doesn't have any sense of what he's doing in his life. And his dad is the president of this program for these giant robots that actually, help destroy these angels. And these angels are like, they're not like monsters. They're like weirdly shaped, like Stanley Kubrick looking, like one is just a giant pyramid, that shows up.
I'm gonna check out these.
And some of them are just really freaky. And his dad never talks to him.
Sad
and he just
times.
says and he doesn't even want to be part of the program, but he has to do it, or he just gets kind of cornered into doing it. And all that pressure, have to fight against these giant monsters that show up. But
is it over?
So I'm taking too much time, but like
no, not your explanation. Is it over? I'm asking. You said the show is over.
The show finished in a way where it was all that plot stuff with the second impact and the post-apocalypse and like all the lore about Adam, Lilith, Eva. There are all these like Dead Sea Scrolls, and these, and preventing the third impact, which would, destroy the world, right, and turn it and merge all of life together into one, and so all that sort of stuff gives way to just this main character. His name's Shinji. His depression issues, and the end of the show finished with, and this is a spoiler if anybody hasn't seen Evangelion.
It's exactly what we're saying in the beginning. You didn't anticipate it's going to be different. Different movie or show. But
and the end of the show, just the original show from 1995 finishes with this kid finally accepting himself.
Okay.
You know what I mean? And you know what? The director himself actually had depression while working on this as well. And so so all this big monsters fighting each other and robots and all that just gives way to just that. And it's the last episode is just famously very ethereal and sketchy, and like they didn't even put any paint or anything. They just did sketches, and like there's no sound, and it's just like, trying to find your self-worth,
Interesting.
A lot of people hated that. The fans hated it. A lot of fans hated that ending.
They wanted like a big robot fight and like some big secrets.
Yeah, because it wasn't what they were
revealed.
expecting. Because a lot of characters died. A lot of characters just were, like pushed, put out of focus. And so what happened was they made the end of Evangelion, the movie, which was like supposed to be the movie that finishes everything, which came out a few years after the show ended in 1999, I think.
Okay.
And that is pure, like I just can't explain it to you as well, but it's just like pure anger. It's just like the director seeing that they didn't get the point of the end of the show. And so this is just like, you want something? Okay, you got something. And it is just characters dying, the third impact, the actual apocalypse happening. And it goes into a lot of like psychological topics, and it's abstract, and there's at the end it just unwinds, like there's like brutal deaths, and there's just like it's very art house, you know what I mean? Like just there's a giant naked body coming out of a planet, and eyeball, those kinds of like images. And there's even in the movie, there's even all those like internet comments of angry fan mail that shows up,
Is the angry fan mail shows up in the actual movie? Okay.
Yes. So that happens, and it's very David Lynchian. It's like it's an interesting ending, and then that was it for a while until 2007, and then they did Rebuilds, which is like the same story but in movies instead of a show. It's just a movie. First movie kind of retells the same story, and this is the same director going back to do it again.
He went for some more.
Yeah, he went for some more. Well, here's why, and it's complicated because this show got so popular, and there's so much like merchandising with that you have to keep making more.
Yeah. You got it. People want more.
Yeah, and the design, I mean, obviously the design and the animation is really top notch. And so the movies are the ones that I watched again. Okay. Because I didn't really care for them when I watched them in 2018. But one came out in 2007, second one came out in 2009, third one came out in 2012, and the final one finally in 2021. And I don't want to spoil it because it's pretty new, but that had a fantastic ending because it's so autobiographical by this director. Hideaki Anno, because he puts a lot of his own experiences in there and his own psychological profiling as well, you know, and all of his emotions in there. And it's sometimes just, you know, like I said, like the actual external story goes away and it's just the internal feelings of the characters that reflect what he experienced as an adult and how to mature. And so that ending is finally like a wonderful and finished piece, and it's like, okay, it's done now. So that's what I've been watching, and I'm so happy and satisfied to be done with that. And it was a ride, man. It was a ride.
Interesting. I have not seen anything besides this movie, so I have literally not watched. I'm on books now.
Oh wow!
So I've been taking a little break from like stuff watching. So book time.
Wow, man! Book time.
You're
reading The Green Knight.
I actually, funny
Sir
enough,
Gawain and the Green
to bring
Knight?
back, I actually gonna read the Green Knight poem, but unfortunately, it is a poem, and just like when you're reading Tolkien and they start doing the songs, just your mind shifts away and you just want to get back to the prose. It was happening.
Right.
I was like, I think I tried, and after like, 20, 30 lines, I was like, I don't know what's happening here. I can't read this. This is such an ancient way to. I think it's like. Let me see. I have it open. It's long, man. It's a couple. Oh dear. It's like, I think 80 pages, like about 100 pages. The actual poem. But anyway,
let's get medieval. Let's go.
So
let's do it.
Let's talk about these movies. So we picked Green Knight. Funny enough,
The Green Knight, the movie that Tim was waiting for so long.
this is the funniest thing, is that I was
just waiting
watching
for it,
this, and you guys have been saying, Tim is waiting for the Green Knight. But I was like, the thing is that, like, I think you guys were looking more forward, like, especially even Jake was mentioning, to Green Knight than me, because I remember, like, this movie.
Jacob was, I think.
This movie was actually filmed like a long ass time ago. I think. Let me look at when the production. It was announced in 2018, and it was filmed in 2019. So this was filmed in 2019, and I remember seeing a teaser trailer for it, and I was like, I'm a really big fan of what A24 puts out, but the trailer did not speak to me. So I was like,
Really?
I was like, okay,
wrong. I had it all wrong.
This is going to come out. Probably I'm going to watch it, and then. COVID happened and it wasn't released, so I completely forgot about this movie. And you guys were like,
No way.
The Green Knight. So I was like, you know what?
No, it wasn't me. I didn't care very much.
Oh, okay. Because I was like, you know what? If these two guys, want to watch an A24 movie so much, it's just good for me. So I'll hop on the train. Sure, I'll watch Green Knight.
I thought you were up because I remember The Lighthouse, and it's like, oh, we got to watch The Lighthouse, and then scheduling conflicts happened, and we couldn't do it.
But The Lighthouse is different. That's Robert Eggers. Robert Eggers, and I love that guy, and I love his movie. So anyway, The Green Knight came out. It is a movie, produced by A24, directed by David Lowery. It's based on the Arthurian legend, Sir Gawain and the Green Knight.
I always wondered how you pronounce Sir Gawain, but
Gawain.
Like, I mean, if you put it. Yeah, I think I'm assuming that the movie does it right. Gawain. It
feels very, Celtic, Irish, Welsh.
Because
Gawain.
Because you spell it Gawain, Gawain. So I always thought it was Sir Gawain.
That doesn't feel right. It doesn't feel like, Hi, Sir Gawain, where you going? Having a bit of a wee walk up to the Green
Having a bit
Chapel.
of a wee walk, are you, Sir Gawain?
Right. And it's Sir Gawain, the nephew of King Arthur. It's a very classic, part of the whole legendary work of Arthur. One of the more famous ones. And this one's a pretty, specific. It's based on one work. I mean, in the whole Arthurian legend, there's like a gazillion different works from different periods of time that they're very different. So this one's and also it does so the legend is he's Arthur's nephew, and then his his mom, Arthur's sister or half sister, depends which ones are you looking at. She he's like chilling, not doing anything, going to the whorehouse, drinking, and he wants to be a knight, but he's not ready for it yet. So his mom pushes him out a little bit, that she invites this green knight, this creature, to come in the party.
She invites him.
Yeah, remember, she does the whole magic.
No, I thought he just came out for no reason. I didn't understand what the magic was about.
She did the magic. She was in the tower with her witchy friends, and she did the invite to the Green Knight. I think in the original poem it was supposed to embarrass Arthur or something like that. But in this movie, it feels more of like a coming of age. Like his mom really wants to push him out to go do the good deeds, and not just mess around drinking and not doing anything. So she invites the Green Knight. The Green Knight, the legend is, he comes in and offers a fight. And the game is that if you chop his, or whatever you do to him, that in a year he will do to you. So Sir Gawain chops his head off, and then the Green Knight grabs his head and is like, haha, you have to come in a year into my green chapel, and I will, do as I will with you. Either chop your head off or, just harm you with a scratch. And that's the quest, to prove your worthiness, because Sir Gawain is not a knight yet. He's just a dude. He's just a nephew. And Arthur really wants him to be a knight as well.
He's just a guy.
Probably plotted with his sister, this whole ordeal. So then he goes on his adventure, and he has many, many trials and tribulations. He is tested by different things.
He goes on a bit of a hike.
Yes, indeed. He's tested for his graciousness. He is tested for his lust. He is tested for his wit, and all these things until the very end, and until he meets the knight. So that's the Green Knight. Now, Excalibur is a movie that was directed by John Boorman from 1981. So this one is, what this reminded me of watching this? This felt like a contemporary musician biopic. Like it has everything. Like it's not like so. Really? So the Green Knight is more of like you take this one body of work or whatever it is, one structure, and then you put like a modern spin to it, and then you kind of do it as a character study, but a little bit like kind of fever dreamish kind of. It's an interesting point of view, but you have like one thing that you take. This is like the highlight reel. It's like they take every single bit you can take from, Arthurian legends.
Yeah.
And then there's like 4 centuries of like the main body of work by many people who wrote. They changed things in French and in English and in Welsh. They just take everything, every single thing from the beginning, and then kind of like the Arthur's life, and there's time skips, and you get the whole scene. But it's like a biopic. It's like how Arthur became. There's his parents and stuff. Then it's like this is like how he starts.
But it's also really really cool.
Yeah, and then there's the period when he's like, oh, he's he takes out the sword. Of course, he's the king.
Yeah, that was the highlight reel right there.
This is his God's given right. This is like when in the music biopic somebody discovers they're talented and everyone's like losing their mind. It's like, oh my God, he can sing so good, right?
Nice, yeah.
Then it's all like smooth sailing, right? He gets the band together, which is the Knights of the Round Table.
He gets the band together.
They go ahead and conquer, conquer all of UK. They're just like they're Knights of the Round Table. It's the band is on tour. Everything's going good. Like the other knights, they're like, we're gonna kill you, but then they can't because you're just so good, Arthur. Everything's moving. So they create Camelot. They're around the round table, exactly. And then Sir Lancelot. He messes things up because he's in love with Arthur's wife, right?
Yeah.
And it's the love triangle. The love triangle.
Oh, Guinevere.
This is where, everything's good. The music's great. We got Camelot. We're Knights of the Round Table, but something's wrong. This is where the trial comes for the musician, And he spirals down into drugs. He doesn't take drugs here, but he's all sick. He's like, give me the Holy Grail.
And then he tells his band members to look for the Holy Grail.
Yeah, exactly. And this is the, time of trouble. He's going solo. The knights are all over the place.
Yeah.
But then in the end, the band gets together. And they defeat evil, and then he dies. This is basically Queen, the biopic, which is hilarious to me. So
that's an interesting way of explaining the story.
I was finished. I was like, what is this? This is like, I honestly like watching The Green Knight. Like, I'm a huge fan of like folklore. So,
I think we know this.
Yeah, I know.
You were very angry when Baba Yaga showed up and it was John Wick. You're like, that's not the folklore.
No, not in that way. But like I used to read when I was a kid. We used to have these like 2 huge volumes of collection of Slovak folklore stories.
Oh, nice!
It's kind of like the Brothers Grimm. They did in like sort of like a Germanic region. So they did it in Slovak. I read those like 100 times over and over again. They're amazing.
Okay, yeah.
And they also have this sort of medieval kind of chivalry type of romance. It wasn't usually a knight; it was more of a peasant. Yeah, who, either one son or 3 sons.
Peasant's quest.
And they got to go out in the world and they get quests from witches or kings, and they get the princess in the end. Except there's one that I need to find, and we need to make a movie of it because they're all pretty like standard. Like there's like there's bit of like there's one trope, and then you could see that in like 20 of them, right? And it's kind of mix and match. Yeah. There's one that we found, and my nieces Mimi and Tabby remember this when we found it, and it just has everything. Like it is everything. Like they put every single trope, every single folklore thing into one story. The story, the protagonist shifts midway through. You turn to like it starts with the peasant boy, but midway through he dies and you're following the princess. And it gets to bizarre place that the princess dies, she is buried in a casket, and then she travels through Earth like Bugs Bunny in her dead casket. And the play is insane. People chop their legs off to feed gargoyles as they fly up.
They feed gargoyles.
So I need to find that folklore. But whatever. The point is that I love folklore. So that's why
badass, man.
I really enjoyed the Green Knight more because it was like it had that flavor, the old world flavor.
Well, this one was flavor.
Like I was like when Excalibur started, I was immediately like pissed off because
really
it starts off with what's it called?
Merlin.
It starts off with this title. It says in the Dark Ages, and I'm like, oh god, here we go.
Yeah, but this is 1981. I was like, yes, I am ready for this. That's what I was thinking.
It's like it's the Dark Ages, right? It's like, oh no, we're past this. We're past this, and then
I know because it's 1981, Tim.
I know, and it's like, and people are fighting, and Arthur Legends is supposed to be like post Roman,
post-Roman,
6th century Britain, and it's dudes fighting it.
They're wearing their 15th century armor.
Yeah, they're wearing their 15th century armor with the huge helmets, and I'm like, oh my god, it's like this is it. But
I was thinking, like maybe I'm biased because the history of John Borman and him getting to make this movie, right?
I know nothing.
Okay.
Here's the thing. I want to ask you because you picked this one. Because here's the thing. We wanted to see
similar.
Well, here's the thing. We wanted to watch The Green Knight, and then this isn't the first adaptation of the Green Knight tale. There's actually about 5 or 6 different films based on the story. So, but you suggested you wanted to watch Excalibur. So I wanted to ask, like, what was the reason? It looks like you have like a history with this movie, and you wanted to watch it.
Well, no, I felt like Excalibur was perfect for this because every time I saw a trailer for The Green Knight, I was always like, oh man, here we go, pretentious movie, let's go, baby. And so I thought that like we could get like that. It's going to be the same kind of thing because I knew watching the trailer for Green Knight that it was going to be something hallucinogenic and a little bit, abstract, and it wasn't going to be like this didn't happen in 6th century Britain. It's going to be that kind of cold, weird, fantasy parable. A24. I know A24 is a distribution company, and it's not.
I love that A24 has now become like a description. It's very brand. A24.
Yeah, dude. I'm sure a bunch of people. I'm just saying that because I'm thinking of some other A24 films. Like.
Wait, did you watch Excalibur before?
No, I didn't.
You didn't. You just knew about it.
I just knew about it. I actually started watching it. I rented it at my library when I was younger, like 14 or something. And then we got to the part where, I guess you could call it on the unforeseen sexual.
Let me describe. So this is so. Not many
That's when
people
I stopped.
know.
That's when I stopped. I was like, I'm not watching this. I don't want.
Not many people know how Arthur was conceived in the late Arthurian canon legends. Essentially, his dad wanted the wife of the Cornish king. Urethra was his dad's name, and he wanted the woman of the Cornish king. So, and he couldn't defeat his castle to have his way with his woman. So he got Merlin to cast a steamy mist that he could ride on his horse to his castle.
Yes.
While her husband was attacking his camp. Then Merlin used his magic to shapeshift him to look like her husband. He then has his way with her.
Got very frisky.
Very frisky, yep, in the old 80s way of I hate the rapey romance of the olden times. I'm so glad we're like past that. Like when
we're out of there. We're out of
you
that.
Watch it. You watch that old movie and it's just like, the man grabs the woman
there.
and kisses her on the mouth roughly and she's like, "Oh, I cannot." Like that's so weird. We need to stop with that immediately. And we did, which is great. But anyway, and then that's Arthur is born of this lust. That's him. But then Merlin takes him away and he's like, I will give him to poor people. So he becomes humble.
Yeah,
but anyway,
that's when I stopped
there.
Yeah.
But no, here's the thing. I said I was pissed off with the whole Dark Ages and them in 15th century armor. But once the movie started and we got to that point, I realized what kind of movie was it. And it's like, this doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what they're wearing or what they're saying.
No, exactly. Yeah.
It's...
We had music like that.
There's a cool thing that so as far as like the plot of the whole thing, I mean, I was interested for a while and then the love triangle stuff. And then I just realized like, there's so many things they're cramming in here. I was getting lost. I was like, wait, so Sir Gawain, like in the Green Knight, he is the nephew of King Arthur, right?
Yeah.
And he's sitting there, and then I'm watching this movie afterwards, Excalibur, and then he's like, there he is, played by what's his face? Played by Liam Neeson.
Yes.
And he's like being all lovey-dovey with Arthur's sister. I'm like, isn't that his mom? And I was like, oh, and I figured like, okay, no, this is like, these legends are like, it doesn't matter. Like each of these, like not even the movies, but even the legends, like whatever is, they'll change things around. So it's completely fine. I was a little bit weird, even though there's a lot of incest in this movie and in the legends. That wasn't incest.
Yeah.
That was just a different story.
I just remembered. You're right. Yeah. Whoa.
But anyway, so
that's so like, I don't know. There's this shameless way of this movie presenting itself.
Yeah,
it doesn't care, and I feel like that's what's so fun about it.
Excalibur. It's like so weird. Like they just like all of it, every single thing, the Holy Grail, Excalibur, Merlin, his family ties, everything's in there. Absolutely everything. And it's just like the last like act is just like light speed of just checking all the boxes, everything. You've got Sir Lancelot with a huge beard being a monk. Guinevere being it's like insanity. Here's my question. So I had to actually sit down after I watched this movie and just like read and watch a bunch of YouTube videos like about Arthurian legends because like all I knew was probably that movie the one we wanted to dub, the weird cartoon.
Camelot, yeah.
Camelot,
the Quest for Camelot.
I don't know much about Arthur. I'm not from England or America.
Look, I don't know that much either. I just know, what do you call that? Secondhand, like information.
So
I know
keeping
about
up?
Lancelot.
Like, were you like
keeping up.
lost, or were you like, okay, yeah, I
No, I
know
wasn't
everything that's
lost.
happened?
I don't know what's happened. Like, I've not heard exactly what happened, but I had secondhand knowledge of like, oh yeah, Lancelot and Guinevere. That's all, the cheating that happened. I know that. That's
Oh,
all
you
I
knew
know.
about this. I knew nothing about this.
I know
this,
that
this
peace
love
was kept in the
triangle.
realm when Arthur gets his Knights of the Round Table, and then I know how Arthur got the sword out of the stone, obviously because of the Disney film. And I didn't think it was real. I thought Disney was just making stuff up, but
Oh, right, yeah.
yeah. So I know those little like cliff notes. So I was okay getting there, but when it went to the end, and Lancelot turned into the gate, the bridge gatekeeper. What is your name?
Exactly.
That I didn't know any of that. I was just like, I'm here to see the borderline funniness and shameless 80s medieval movie expressionism of John Borman. And I was not disappointed.
So so you talk about John Borman as he's your friend. So what is John Borman famous for? I have not. What is this? What is this guy's
Look,
deal?
the way
Who is
I
this
know,
guy?
the way me and John Borman, the way our relationship goes is, I think the only time I've heard of him was because of Excalibur, and I watched the trailer for it a long time ago,
Okay.
and I watched a little bit of that film,
Yes, up until the naughty
until
pots.
the yes, and I already had an innate idea of what the movie felt like a kind of mean, and it wasn't mean, but it was like that brash fantasy movie where it's like, oh, it's brutal, but it's also, it has that classical music, so it's like they're not afraid to put classical music, and I don't know, that kind of tone, I understood what it was ever since I was like a teenager, and I haven't seen the whole film.
Okay.
So I kind of avoided it because I just didn't want to watch it because it felt too aggressive for me, if that makes
Right.
sense. Not that the movie's aggressive, but like it feels like the direction is aggressive.
The movie is very
this is my movie.
aggressive in terms of the audio because everyone in there is shouting in this movie, and like it's those old like potato ADR, and the compression and the distortion is through the roof, and it's like even when it starts off,
I heard some of the audio cut off.
yeah,
Did you? Like some of the dialogue was like you could actually hear. Yeah. There was some of that.
Gabriel Byrne, I don't know how to pronounce his last name, the Irish actor. He's from The Usual Suspects. He plays the old guy there. He plays the urethra, the dad of Arthur. And dude, that guy's
is he?
shouting the entire time.
Yes, that was so funny. I loved it.
It's just so intense.
I didn't know. For me, it was just like, it's not like I consider this like a masterpiece. Well, I mean, it probably is. You know the definition of masterpiece, right?
Well, I don't know the
core.
definition of masterpiece, but in 2009, Zack Snyder said Excalibur was his favorite film, calling it the perfect meeting of movies and mythos.
Okay.
Sorry, I just had that note and I couldn't resist. But yeah, go ahead.
Because like masterpiece, because it has master in it, and it refers to everything the filmmaker is. Like everything that he's good at, he puts in his one movie. So it's not necessarily that it's the best, objectively a best movie. It's a movie that defines his skills or his interests. So that's kind of a masterpiece, So I feel like that feels like that's what John Borman is. And honestly, I haven't seen any of his other movies. He made Deliverance. You know Deliverance?
No.
And Exorcist 2. That's what it was. The Heretic. This is before. And Deliverance is the movie where the guys get lost in the forest and end up in Hillbilly Town and get famously taken advantage of.
I guess this is the theme of John Bourne.
Yeah. And Zardoz, of course. He made Zardoz.
Is that
The one with Sean Connery?
The Sean Connery with his little red outfit?
Yes,
Yeah,
the
that makes
penis
sense.
is mightier.
Here's the thing.
That's what it is.
Before, like, definitely Excalibur was
I
not
didn't watch
my
it.
vibe.
By the way, I didn't watch any of these films to understand what I'm going to watch. And for some reason, I expected exactly what I got.
I mean, here's the thing.
I got exactly what I expected. That's what I mean.
It's definitely specific vibe, and it definitely sticks to it. And I think there's definitely an idea behind it. And before I move like more talk about the Green Knight, because
we need to talk about that.
Because I definitely enjoyed that one a lot more. For me personally, as far as my taste and as far as the experience, the Excalibur was more of like, twofold, like what am I watching type of deal. Like this is an interesting experience. I think it was way too long for me. I think I had a little bit of fatigue after halfway through it. But here's some positive stuff that I liked about it. And I think even this, and I like to think this actually influenced the Green Knight, because in the Excalibur, there's this technique they use every time the Excalibur or the dragon magic is used.
Yes.
You have this green light shine on objects.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool. And my favorite shot in the Green Knight is when, so they're having the banquet at the round table, and the Green Knight approaches. He walks through the door to the room, and he stands in the middle of the room, and King Arthur glances at Merlin as this, like, can you vet this guy? Can you check him? And Merlin closes his eyes and does this little chant, and they do this little dolly zoom, so it's like a little perspective shift of like magic is happening, and they shine this red light straight on Merlin's face while he does the enchantment, and then he does it for a couple of seconds, and then it fades away, the light as well, and the perspective changes, and he just glances back at Arthur and goes like, it's fine, I vetted him for the magic. I absolutely love that scene. It was just everything I love. It was just like the use of practical for the magic, and just as Merlin, just this guy's not talking, he's just standing there. It's Merlin. He never is mentioned that it's Merlin, but just the way he looks, that's Merlin. And when I was watching the Excalibur, the Green Light, I was like, maybe they were influenced by this. That movie
was influential. But I love that part in the Green Knight where they had that lighting change.
It was so good.
Wonderful. And I was just thinking, when I was watching, I was like, look how far we've come with like how nice and clear and more sophisticated the lighting looks like since since putting a gel in a light bulb for Excalibur.
The gelatin light is like, but it's a cool effect. It's really weird because it's like this 80s neon looking green, and it's just in the middle of a forest. It's just like
and the entire lens is smudged, so you get all the Vaseline, with all the glows. Anyway, I just wanted to say, John Boorman, he started off wanting to do a King Arthur, but then United Artists, who the movie that he was working to make this King Arthur movie with, said, "Listen, we got Lord of the Rings, the rights to Lord of the Rings.
Oh,
so you do Lord of the Rings. Could you do Lord of the Rings?" And he's like, "Okay, we'll do Lord of the Rings." And I remember that's the script that I found, 1970, John Boorman and his co-writer writing their version of Lord of the Rings. And I didn't get to the ending, but I read like 2/3 of it, and it is podcast worthy. Like, we need to make an episode of this script, because this script is Excalibur, but with Lord of the Rings. It's amazing.
Oh man, that must be. Do we have to do that? We have to analyze. That's going to be a special. We have to sit down and we have to read. Okay, that's because this movie is everything that Lord of the Rings shouldn't be. This is just
so you can imagine, because
like, and I want to talk about like if we compare these two movies, and like I said, it's very different type of movie, even though it's kind of if you would take it. Based on the same, let's say if you're talking about modern universes of MCU. So let's say if your Arthur world is your, Arthur universe.
You mean like King Arthur, Legend of the Sword from 2017?
What's that?
They were making it, Guy Ritchie's movie.
Guy Ritchie made an Arthur movie? I completely missed
I love how no one remembers this. I haven't seen it, but like...
Let me, what is it called?
Arthur, Legend of the Sword.
Arthur Legend.
And it was supposed to start a,
was it? No, I didn't mean like that. I meant like if you take all these movies and you kind of make them into, oh my God, this looks so bland. Look at those colors.
It is.
Kill me now. Another medieval movie that looks like there's one hue, only one hue.
That's what the Middle Ages were all about.
Yeah, just one hue. Thank God for color. You know what I was thinking?
Thank God for color.
You know what I was thinking?
Yeah,
as I was watching this Arthur thing, and then I was reading about Arthur and all the different legends and all the different variations of the thing.
All the king's horses and all the king's men.
What I would like is if somebody took the Arthur legend, and not this garbage, desaturated, serious BS. I want someone to make a fun Arthur movie that it has the understanding of, okay, we're not trying to make this like quasi history. Like, remember that movie with Keira Knightley and what was that dude's name?
King Arthur. That was
I forgot what it was called. What's the guy's name? But anyway, it was all like, what if Arthur was real? And it's like, no, the guy's not real. It's obviously BS. It's a bunch of legend stuff. Forget about that angle. Clive Owen. Forget about that part. Get rid of that. We know it's a legend, so let's have fun with it.
King Arthur was the most boring movie I've ever seen in my life in theaters.
So why don't we just so we know, it could be a fun, okay, so Merlin is obviously a druid, right? So we understand more about druids. It doesn't have to be this wonky, is he, Christian? Is he a wizard? Is he just making this fun, kooky character? Arthur, kind of caricature, Lance will make this this guy who thinks he's amazing and everything. Imagine if what Taika Waititi did with Thor, if you had that with Arthur, and it's just full of color and this medieval amazingness, how much fun would that be? And you have these plethora of characters and these really legends, and you can kind of make fun of it in a non-direct way of how ridiculous it is, of the romanticized chivalry and all these virtues of old.
Brother to brother.
That would be amazing. I would totally want to watch that.
Yeah?
Definitely. None of this garbagey, we must bring Arthur to, seriousness. It's all honor. Anyway, so what did you think of these movies, Philip?
Sir Lancelot of Camelot.
Yeah. We're gonna try to do this whole podcast and not talk about Monty Python. We're gonna try.
Okay. Do you want to talk about Green Knight? Because we haven't talked about that enough.
Okay, so they're very different movies, and Green Knight is more of one. I guess it's much smaller. It's a character study, I would assume. It has some themes. I feel like Excalibur doesn't have any themes or anything to say except
this is Excalibur. This is King Arthur.
This is King Arthur, and this is every single thing that happened around him.
Yeah. The ending of that was great. Remember that the sunset was so cool. It was very good, artistic looking. I don't know how to describe these things, because I want to say abstract, but I say that all the time. That's my problem.
Oh, no, you mean okay, so I think what you're trying to say, that type of direction.
Impressionistic?
No, Impressionism is basically when you have a heightened sense of some kind of a feeling. What you're thinking is what Dolly was. Let's see.
Absurdist.
Surreal.
Surrealist.
There you go.
Good. Thank you. I need
That's what you were looking
Surrealist.
for.
Yeah,
yes.
that surrealism was great. Love it. Love that stuff. But then again, we have that in the Green Knight. So, well, what I mean about Excalibur is basically Excalibur. It makes for pretty good entertainment, in my opinion. There's nothing that I felt was boring. I probably wouldn't watch it again for a long time.
Yeah.
But there was something hammy, about it that I enjoyed. Mm-hmm. But there was something that was, like I said, it was just really shamelessly, this is the movie I'm making and I'm passionate about it and this is it, and it's cheesy kind of in a way, but not that it's ridiculous. But it is ridiculous, but it is in a tonally different way of a different type of movie like this, like The Room.
Yeah, it doesn't go into, there's certain level of competence. I think it's just the age and just the direction is just watching it now, it feels a little bit weird, no matter who you are. It's not like a movie that, just doesn't age. You can watch a Hitchcock movie right now and you could just feel like you're watching a modern movie. This is not one of those movies. It's very a movie of its time, I would say.
Yeah.
What did you think of The Green Knight?
There wasn't enough green.
You're missing that gelatin neon light. Just like...
I'm missing that gelatin. I was promised green with The Green Knight, but I knew what I was getting into.
Mm-hmm.
Because I watched the trailers. I know what I'm getting into.
I didn't see the trailers, by the way. I do nothing.
You didn't.
I do nothing.
Wow, look at you, man. How did you manage? It's been like promoted since 2019. And you didn't see any trailer.
I guess I forgot what I saw back in 2019, so I was pretty clear. I was just like, there's a dude with like a crown. That's all I remembered.
Okay. You don't remember this guy that I have on my background picture?
I don't remember how the Green Knight looked at all.
Interesting. Well, I don't know what to say.
Did you enjoy the watch?
I don't regret seeing it.
Oh, okay. That's interesting, Tone. Because I'll tell you,
I feel like I don't know. I have a complex relationship with this film, and I've just seen it a few hours ago.
Oh, you're fresh. Okay,
I'm a freshman.
Because you see,
Are you a sophomore?
I was enjoying myself watching it so much from start to finish. It was just the editing, the feverish editing when it just fades through time, and just the way it was shot and just the way the story was presented. It was just right up my alley. I was just sitting there and just enjoying myself with happiness on my face of
why
I'm so enjoying this movie.
What was enjoyable about it? Did it feel because of the feeling, because of the...
Well, first of all, I knew nothing about the story, so I had no idea where this is going, is one thing. There's a point in and saying this that we talked in the beginning, I wasn't anticipating this. This wasn't some The Lighthouse was I have to see this. So I was just completely going, I'll see this, whatever this is.
Oh, okay.
But there's a point in the middle of the movie when he gets robbed by those
assholes.
So the test was, by the way, here's a funny trivia point. When he's walking down, still has a horse. He's on his quest. And the first trial
Gawain,
he meets...
Yeah. I mean, Gawain...
Gawain. Loin, oin, boin, buffin, buffin. Muffin.
He's traversing... He's fresh out of the castle. He's like, I have to face my destiny because I cut off the head of the Green Knight and I'm going out.
I have to do this. It's the only way I become knight and
yes,
great.
He's very green. Ha, 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 ha. And he's going out, hasn't done stuff like that before.
Yeah. And... basically, he is walking. He's walking through this battlefield, and there's this little kid, and he is, wants to help him out. But they're having this little talk about the fight, and essentially, he's saying, "Oh, one of the great kings has led this battle, and it says that he killed 900 men, and Sir Gawain, not just Gawain is saying is I highly doubt that." That's a cool reference to the first ever written account of or mention of King Arthur as a legendary character. And it says that he was leading a battle and won the Battle of Badon, and he killed 900 men by himself. That's the first ever written mention of King Arthur. So that's a pretty cool...
Oh, that's a deep reference. I wouldn't have
It's just in the conversation there, so it was pretty cool. But essentially, he then gives him direction to the Green Chapel, and then our hero is stingy and only gives him a little money, so gets robbed in the end. And they tie him up and leave him next to the tree as they take his stuff from his horse and everything.
Mm-hmm.
And once they leave, there's this panning shot.
Yeah, it's the panning shot.
Where you see him laying on the floor, and then it does a 360 around the forest, and it returns to him as a skeleton, right?
Yes.
And at that point,
Skelly bones.
and if I can explain how I enjoy this, how I was enjoying this film, if that moment the story of our character stopped and the movie went somewhere else, I was completely okay. I was just so enjoying the mood of the movie. It was like,
Yeah.
if this is a shift and this story goes somewhere completely different after this point, and our hero, the one we're supposed to follow, just basically tragically dies because he's like the story is like, okay, I'm gonna go on a quest, and the first like trial he fails. I was like, that's okay. I am ready to go wherever
It's
this
like
movie
Psycho.
takes me, and I think that's why I enjoyed myself so much. It's just because I love the mood of it.
Yeah. Yeah.
What about you? How was you said it's a complicated relationship you have with this movie you just finished 5 minutes ago?
Yeah. I mean, I finished it 5 minutes ago, didn't I?
You did. What's your thought process still?
Because like I don't hate it, but I feel like there's something. Maybe I'm wrong, but there's something I've seen before in other movies like that I sometimes am a little bit like. I'm not saying this because this could be better, because I can't say that, because it is what it is. That's how I feel about it. But there's something that I've seen in other movies that have a similar tone that I feel could be different to have been more appealing to me.
Okay.
No, that makes no sense. I mean, like...
Can you give me an example?
Yeah, like, there was a certain sense of... There's a certain sense of the film telling you, oh, you're going to see something weird, you know? And I'm like, I know I'm going to see something weird, you know? I feel like that there's stuff like that I have a perceived idea coming into that, you know?
I guess that's watching movie as a movie. I guess I was very in when you're watching, there's like a couple of layers of immersion.
Yeah.
Where, for me, the best experiences of movies is where that first layer of watching it as a movie and analyzing it as a movie like goes away and you're inside the movie. And this movie did that for me. So that's why I think it was enjoying. But as you're talking about it, I feel like you never crossed that.
I did. I was watching it, and when I was done with it, as I do now with every movie I
afterwards.
watch,
Okay,
I'm just like thinking about it and be like, there's value in that. I appreciate that, But at the same time, I can also I do kind of think about. You know what? I'm just gonna say it right now. I think that it was like, I don't know what the hell's going on. I mean, I do know what's happening because I'm following this guy, and we have to get to that quest. But at the end of it, I was like, I don't know if you felt this, but I was like, can we just talk about the ending here, where he gets to the Green Knight's little hideout,
right?
And the Green Knight wakes up, and he's like,
"Are you ready to die?"
Yes.
And he's like, "Okay." And then he's like super scared, as anybody would be. And then the Green Knight is about to picks up his axe.
If somebody's not going to watch the movie, so as we said, essentially he has to go to this chapel to return the favor, and which basically means that the Green Knight is now going to chop his head off, right? And this is the quest. This is the honorable thing to do, and it's a game. This is what he has to do: become a knight. This is what he has to do to earn the glory and earn what he yearns to have, is to be like the other knights of the Round Table. He wants to be this great knight.
Yes.
So he has to go do it, but he's not a very capable person. He's a bit of a coward, and the way this journey there, he gets there in the end. He wants to, but he flinches and he's scared of getting his head chopped off by the Green Knight. He flinches.
As anybody would be.
And then there's this whole scene, basically, either it's his imagination or the Green Knight presents to him, or it's just he's thinking about it, we have this whole sequence of basically
because like this movie's really fresh. I think he's thinking about it because back in when he got captured with the skeleton, I think that was him thinking about like,
like what's the possible and like how is this going to end? And then he's like, no, I'm not going to do this. That's a good thought. I didn't even connect those things together. Yeah, definitely. So
I just thought about it when you were explaining the skeleton thing.
Yeah, so he's probably thinking, if I run away, what's that going to be? And it's kind of like the sequence.
Well, no, here's the thing. This is where I was like, oh, come on. Oh, you coward. He's like, Gawain the coward. Look at that. Look at that guy going back. He's going back. Oh.
And he's going back. And
I was just like, you scumbag.
Because we don't know as you're watching the movie.
Back here.
You don't know that, he's just thinking this. But essentially, you live out, you basically go through his entire life as if you would go back home, pretend that he got his head chopped off, and he's like this he basically unearned glory. He's living on a lie. And he's like, he's doing all the things he thinks glory is, which is wage war and get yourself a wife. And and all this stuff, and basically
proper wife, not the girl that liked him.
Yeah,
he's just with
the
peasant.
What he thinks is the honorable thing to do. He goes through all of that, and in the end, in his imagination, he's like, "This all sucks. I don't want any of this." So then we go back to,
and he does, and we go back there, and he takes off the green band, the green girdle.
Oh yes, that's a whole plot line. But essentially, if you're not going to watch this movie, the mom who invites the witch who sets this all up, to invites the Green Knight for this whole game for him to do, to just to get some respect. She also gives him this magical, what is it? What did you call it? Girdle.
The girdle. Lady of the
magical
Green Girdle.
Belt. He gives him. So basically, he can't get hurt. If he wears it, it's got magic. So whatever happens to him, he can't get hurt. It's probably like security for his mom. So even if he gets chopped off, that it's okay. Safety. Parents worry. Even when they send them on dangerous quests, they worry.
Yeah, but little does he know.
There's also a subplot where he loses it, and then this seductress lady, wants to give it to him, and he fails. It's the belt.
I've done my research.
He fails. He wants the girdle, and he wants the lust. And that he fails that trial. Unfortunately,
that part was
magical. But anyway, he fails, and he gets the girdle. So he takes off the girdle. So he's like, okay, he knows that if he's gonna get killed, it's for reals. No magical girdle is gonna protect him.
So I was like, man, this movie, I was just like, at that montage with him going back, becoming king, I was just like, is this it?
Is this how it's going to end?
And I was just like frumping, just watching that go on. And then it cuts back, and then he takes his green belt off.
Yep.
And he's like, now I'm ready. And then the Green Knight is like, he says something cool, and then the movie ends.
Yeah, he says like, and now off with your head, and the movie ends.
And it was and I loved that. That was good. I was happy. I was satisfied.
You didn't want the sad ending. I was ready to.
I didn't want coward because it felt cynical, and it's like, oh yeah, I don't know if I'm thinking too much about the meta contextual sense. It's like, oh, we're having another cynical thing like that. Okay, let's go. Come on,
it's okay.
Artistic and cynical.
You can do a cynical spin on this.
You can,
chivalric,
I don't know what it is. Maybe I need to know the filmmaker more to understand. This is probably just me. I need to know what their feelings are towards it to affect my viewing of the movie. Maybe I'm too biased. Maybe that's me. Maybe I'm just too biased about it. And that's why we're talking about movies instead of like grading them or anything.
Oh yeah. I'm
definitely. Not saying this was bad.
There's no point of giving these things thumbs
because
or
like
stars.
I remember because like this is an awkward, like not awkward. This is a weird comparison, but like I appreciated Guardians of the Galaxy more after listening to James Gunn talk about it on a commentary.
Huh. Interesting.
Because he put in a lot. He said a lot of things where he said, I'm taking this from like my, from my background, and I'm taking this from, like a Dairy Queen. Remember Dairy Queen in Guardians 2?
No.
Where Ego at the beginning of the movie takes
like behind the shop, right?
His mom, Dairy Queen. Yeah. And he's like, I thought it was just product placement.
Mm-hmm.
but it was actually no. But James Gunn said Dairy Queen was a big deal for me when I was a kid, and me and my friends used to hang out there a lot, and and I thought, that's so nice, and I didn't expect that, and so I got a bigger appreciation towards what they were trying to get to with that movie. So with this, I know nothing about the director of this film, and so I'm just like, it's a modern kind of cynical look at something, and it's like it could have been better. Now, I'm not saying that it could be better, because it is, like I said, it is what it is. But I'm just like, I just feel like I think I just judge too fast when I watch something like this, because it's modern and new, and that's just my problem.
Okay.
And I just think, like, where's that coming from? Where are these visuals coming from? And what are you trying to express, Because usually I just think, I'm just here to be fancy and artistic, man, Oh. But that's usually not the case,
I mean, the difference, I think, the way, let's say if we compare these two movies, like, I guess we have a different, like, let's say how I saw these two movies is, the Excalibur, I could see what it is, but it was definitely not my vibe, so I did not enjoy it. And I'm not saying you did or something like that. I'm just saying, like, my perspective, I did not enjoy it. I see what it was for what it is, and it's like, but I'm not bothered by the fact that I didn't enjoy it. While I enjoyed the Green Knight, because, and it was really like an honest, like a reaction of just me, who I am, and what this movie was, and I just enjoyed for what it was without even like thinking about it, because I think there's like some good themes and some good that we can still get to before we end, and I'm completely okay with that. So I'm just not really bothered that the fact that I don't like the Excalibur. It's just like, it's what it is. No, I don't think it's like, I mean, I think there's movies definitely that I'm bothered that I don't like, and I just want to destroy those, nuke those movies, because
can you give me one example?
There's just like, I don't know, like, just the garbage, the like really like mediocre stuff we watched on Netflix. It's just like, just makes me angry, which is just like the business side of movie making. You just see the business. That's when I have a problem. If there's someone's artistic vision and I don't enjoy it, or I don't, it's not fitting my aesthetic, or I don't think maybe like, I don't know, their ideology is wrong or whatever like that. I don't like it, but I'm not bothered by the fact that I don't like it.
Yeah.
It's whatever, that's your vision. If I just see strictly business movies and just bland and boring, I'm just like, ugh, I just want to nuke those movies.
Yeah, business movies are very
business movies
bland
are just
and
like,
boring.
It's not for me, man.
But that sometimes, okay, look, like with certain movies, I think what I admire the most is the sincerity that goes into it, and I feel like even the really bad movies that were sincere.
Mm-hmm.
Are still, you can still watch them.
Yeah.
And they're so bad that they're good. Like, easy one, The Room, right? That's the easy.
Yeah.
Right? But I don't know what was going on with the Green Knight, and that's just okay. I think I might have some kind of bias at the from the get-go, maybe, with perceiving what the point is,
So I want to ask you some questions before we finish about the Green Knight. So, you said like, okay, it feels like very, your first gut reaction is this, okay, it's modern, it's cynical, and it's like,
someone wants to make something to be edgy.
Yes, right. So I felt like there's a couple of good themes as far as that are not cynical, and I think
I'm not saying that is the case.
Okay. I know.
I'm saying that
I'm just curious of what did you think. What were the themes, the thematical, motifs of this movie?
Oh, well, I think that the big one is coming of age.
Right. Yes.
No pun intended.
Responsibility and manning up. The chivalry type of traditional kind of thing.
Yeah. And what your decisions are, and what your expectations are when you get there, and how you deal with it when you get to the end.
Yes.
How seriously do you take it?
I really like that.
I think,
like the structure and the setup is classical, hero's journey.
Yes.
But
you have a narrator at the beginning, remember?
Yes. But that amazing narrator with the voice. Oh God. Yeah. It's just like
it started like
Hear now an eternal flame that
Immediately, I'm in. Like, there's nothing that moved. Like, just from
Honestly,
the get-go.
when I
it's
started
like,
watching it, I'm
so
like,
good.
I'm doing this. I'm ready. I want to see this. That's what I was thinking at the beginning.
Okay.
But I don't know. I think it lost me a little bit.
Okay. So here's an interesting point. So let's say if we take...
I think that's what it was. Like, at the beginning, I was like, yes, I'm here. This is like Excalibur. I'm ready. I'm ready for this.
Okay.
You know, I'm in it for the medieval craziness.
Right. So let's say we take... So he right. So he goes on a quest, right? He needs to go on a quest. Our main hero, Gawain, and he meets Trial, right? Now,
yes,
if we take that as a parallel into Excalibur, right? It is such a surface level of dealing with that trial, which is basically, you know, it just feels like check marks. Okay, so he's like, you can see. The movie.
We can't make the movie without the sword and the stone. He has to pull it out. That's what happens.
Like
right?
Okay, so how he deals with it is when you're watching the movie, it's like somebody telling you how he deals with it, except beside like on the surface, right? So he's like, okay, so he pulls out the sword, and then some knights are against him, and some knights are with him. So Sir Patrick Stewart is with him, and his castle is being attacked by the other knights who are saying King Arthur's not the right knight. Just because he pulled out the sword, he's a peasant.
Yes.
Can't be the knight, right?
Yes.
So and then it's like, so he then fights the other knights, right? And he rescues Sir Patrick and his daughter Guinevere from this castle. And one of the knights is like, they're having a fight in this water. King Arthur with Excalibur and this other knight. And then the other knight bests King Arthur, right? Mm-hmm. And King Arthur, instead of, you know, like fighting back or something like that, he's like, you know what? I am the right knight, and I'm, you know, at your mercy, and you kill me or you are with me. And then the other knight is about to kill him, but then the green light shines and he's like, you are my king, right?
Yes.
You don't have, and this is a very classic way of putting it, like, he is the rightful king. He did the good thing as he gave himself to mercy, right?
Yes.
And then the other knight, you know, because of the power it's supposed to be, this is destiny, he then proclaims his legions to the king.
Oh, you thought it was the magic or something?
It doesn't matter. It just happens because it happens.
It happens because that's how it's supposed to happen.
That's how it's supposed to be. This is the story, and this is how it's meant to be. While when you watch The Green Knight, you get the perspective of that character of dealing with this. You see what they want to do. They want to cower away. You see how they're dealing with what they're thinking. They fail. It's much more, it's interesting to take something like a traditional, like a story like this, like a quest, an epic story, but you put it through the eyes of an actual person, yet it's still in this magical land. It's not like, you know, boring grayscale.
2004 King Arthur. Yeah.
It's a lovely combination that you have this mythical surrealism, you have the classic storytelling of legend, yet there's this human element going through it. And I think that's why I enjoy it. And I think there's like lots of cool themes going through it. Like you said, like the coming of age. I love the parents basically arranging and making this whole deal of like really want him to go. And I think there's a great line that the prostitute that he likes says when they're in the forest before he goes on this quest. You know, she's telling him, you know, you don't know the difference between goodness and greatness. And I think that's like the biggest theme of it. You know, he wants greatness in the end. He wants to be, you know, like the other knights. He wants to be great, but he doesn't understand.
He doesn't know how to. Not that he doesn't know. He doesn't know what it takes to get there. Or
he doesn't know that
what it means
to achieve the greatness. It's not to achieve the greatness, but achieve the goodness. Right?
Yes. That's what I meant.
And it's very classical. You know, like even in Excalibur, they talk about, you know, the man's greatest thing. It's not about his, you know, being a knight or a fighter. It's about telling the truth. You know, and it's like, you know, him being true with himself. And it's a really way.
It's not
to
about the
achieving
size of your strength, but of the strength of your heart.
Exactly. So I really enjoy it. Like, you know, you can take something so classical and yet it's, you know, like, I know it kind of seems cynical, but it's very uncynical, this movie. It's just,
The message is uncynical, yeah. But there's something about the tone of how like you have to admit it's a little slow. It's a little slow.
It's super slow, and I love it so much.
I love that
feels
molasses.
so good and to live in that world.
Tim's just lying down on the floor. He's ready for that molasses, that green molasses to come down, and it's taking forever. He's just like, give it to me. I want it.
It's so good. It's just like, it's so like, and there's like the music in this movie, Green Knight, the use of like traditional medieval sounds and
I was
timbre.
thinking about that. Yeah, like I was thinking about when I was watching that was, what are we going for? Because there's Christmas, right?
It's Christmas, yeah.
There's a lot of like Christianity creeping in, but there's a lot of Gaelic and
that's how it was, man.
Pagan mythology.
That's how it was back then.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah. And I was thinking,
all mushed together.
Yeah, and I was thinking pick one, but then I remembered, wait, I shouldn't pick one. This is how it is how it
was for a very, very long time, you know? It was like, and it's just like, yeah, and this was, okay, this is even just post like Roman, you know, like, yeah, sure, the Roman were Christian at that point when they left, but also, you know, you have all the Celtic you know, traditions going on from the Britons, and then you got the Saxons coming in. We don't really get to see the Saxons here, which is, you know, Germanic tribes, but like, you know, the whole mushing of all that, that's great. And it's like this land of legend. I love when, like, you know, magic and stuff like that is just perceived real. There's none of that, you know, boring Hollywood, like, you must believe in the magic. Like, get that modern shit out of there.
You must believe in the magic.
You know, the bad guy is the one who doesn't believe. You know, he's like, oh, there's no such thing as magic, and then magic kills him. And it's like, please don't do this anymore. We're past this. It's not the 70s anymore.
Oh yeah, man! Uncle Owen was in this movie. It was great.
Uncle Owen was in this movie?
He played Owen Lars in the prequels.
Oh wait, in Excalibur?
No.
Oh, okay.
In the Green Knight. What's his name?
Well, Excalibur has Liam Neeson with really bad teeth.
Really?
I think it's probably like after, you know, like he didn't get big, you know, he got the old Hollywood teeth, but it was funny. We got Patrick Stewart just look like himself as he did for the last 300 years.
I know, he just looks the same all the time.
Just looks the same.
Dude, the budget for this was $15 million. That's pretty good. For a CG Fox, man.
For CG Fox, I mean, it's obviously CG Fox.
I did not. That's the one thing I was just so upset about. I was like, oh,
it's okay. You need more money for that.
Because you know how you can always tell. You can always tell. Yeah. I don't know. I mean, like, is it so hard to just like film a fox nearby, like a fox from like from a sanctuary, you know, like
from 20th century fox.
Yeah. You know, like, and put it in, because like I've been so annoyed by the amount of CG animals that everyone thinks that we'll be fooled by, but they still don't look. It's just like, remember Jungle Cruise? Freaking CG
It's
Jaguar.
true. It's true. I mean, yeah, Jungle Cruise, but I think for this one,
this
with
movie
like,
could
you know,
have benefited
weird,
so much with a real fox.
With like, it's true, but like I think with like the walking giants and all this stuff, it kind of feels okay. It doesn't feel like out of place. It doesn't feel. You can obviously tell it's CG fox.
The fox did. I did not like them. We didn't even talk about the girl with the head.
The girl with the head.
Please retrieve my head, good sir.
Yeah, he did. He did do it.
What a good boy.
That's the one trial he succeeded. He did get the head for the girl. Good for him.
Yeah.
He tried. He tried to be a good knight. I think we're done. I think we're done with these movies. I think we're past bedtime.
Wait, I was correct. It was a girdle.
That's okay. It's a weird thing. You put it around your waist. I don't know.
Anyway, listen, Green Knight. I'm.
Did it live up to your expectations, or
yes, 100%.
Did it disappoint you?
And because I knew what I was expecting, it's somehow I knew.
Right.
I don't know, like, but it was cool watching it.
I might watch it again sometime. Might put it on again.
It was cool watching it. It was cool watching it. Green Knight.
The Green Knight. Okay, folks.
Directed by David Lowery.
David, let's see what else you do.
Sporting a very fine mustache on Wikipedia.
Good for him. Good for him and his mustache.
He has quite a mustache.
He has quite a mustache. I hope you enjoy, your other
He did
films
Ghost
you will be
Story.
making. Peter Pan and Wendy. Oh God,
Hey man,
sweet
someone's
Jesus! He's making Disney
gotta,
movies for Peter Pan. What did you do, David?
Dude,
David, you sold yourself to the.
Look, man. If David's doing it, getting a pretty good paycheck, and is going to do it to fund another like independent movie,
Yes.
that's living the dream right there.
That's living the dream. You get that money. You get that Disney money, and then you do what you want, David, and your mustache. All right, let's end this. Let's end this for the outro. So this is Twofold Podcast.
John Borman,
John Goodman, and David Mustache. We have an Instagram.
I love it. It's always this. It's always something. Why don't I have a list of all the names that you misname?
It's just the way it is. I do not remember names, unfortunately. It's tragic story of Sir Tim. We have an Instagram. You can follow us there. We post a bunch of junk. Like recently, I posted a drawing that Phil made for me, like 30 years ago.
Oh, you mean the Dragonheart one?
Yeah, the Dragonheart and Space Jam.
I've never seen that in my life. I mean, I have because I drew it, but I mean, I don't remember.
Yeah, you drew it to me when you were probably 10 or something.
You know what I would love to do? No one's doing this, but I think this is a great plan. You hear it first here on Twofold Podcast.
Okay.
And maybe in like 10 years, it'll happen. Well, I would love to, Pilgrim's Progress? John Bunyan, 1600s, parable, huge Christian parable. Okay, you don't, but
I don't think so.
dude, I listen to audio dramas and adaptations of it, and it is a freaky story, and I love it.
Oh, wait, is that the dude fights the demon? He's got the sword.
Yeah, he's got the
things?
demon. He's got the sword. He goes into the pit of hell. It's amazing. It's awesome.
I had this comic book that
There's a lot of death. And I can't believe I watched this as a child. I listened to it as a child, but I guess if it's Christian, everything goes, right?
I play the
Christian, it's
devil
fine.
in a play. You know that picture of me
Down with the
holding
sickness.
Emma and I look like just a demented Satan with black paint on my face?
Oh,
That's
yeah.
from there.
Oh, I thought it was just normal makeup.
No, I was playing the demon that the pilgrim is fighting.
Well, I was saying something that looks like the Green Knight for that would be awesome. I would love that. I would love to make something like that. That would be cool. Because it takes place in a dream. It's explicitly I saw in my dream.
All right.
So it's
yeah, that fits the green.
You can go crazy. You can go crazy with that. So that would be interesting.
Well, it's your chance. I was when we were watching Green Knight, I was thinking how
what would you want to do?
I was thinking
in
of Phil's Night movie.
Yeah. I mean, it's people in the forest, right?
people in the forest. Every time I see people in the forest, I think of Phil's Night movie.
Yeah, it's gonna happen. Just leave me alone. I'm
Green
actually
Knight. We'll call him. What are you going to call him?
the Blue Knight.
Why don't you do the
Colors trilogy?
Look, here's the thing. You've been trying to make this Green Knight thing. I mean, this
I haven't.
Night
I
movie.
stopped. I stopped for a while because I have other.
Dude.
I have other. You got to live a little bit.
You got to live a little bit. Can't do movies all the time. But we're finishing this off. We have
we're finishing
Instagram.
it off.
Follow us.
Follow us on Instagram. I'm trying.
And we
to
also
post
created a
stupid things on
letterbox.
there.
You can watch.
You're so quiet. We did a letterbox.
We did a letterbox. If you're in letterbox, you can follow us there. So far, we just have the list of all the movies we watched, and we'll be updating that. But might do some stuff with it. Maybe make some lists and some goodies. But we also want to know who you are.
some goodies. Yeah, we want to know who you are.
So
just
follow us on
man,
Letterboxd.
if we had a discussion thing going on now about the movie, that would be great. Somewhere where we could have people.
Somewhere out there where people are, we'll discuss the Green Knight and all this time. Don't you know? It's time to end this podcast. It's very steamy in this room, and I'm dying.
That's the ending of Excalibur.
Oh, man. He dies. Arthur dies. Spoilers.
Yeah. Okay, I'm done.
He dies. What did you think? Well, yeah. What did
I
you
think
of the
what?
episode? Rate us on iTunes.
Oh yeah, rate us on iTunes and give a shout out. The secret phrase is barbecue McNuggets.
Yeah, exactly. And David Mustache.
David Mustache, yes, that's the secret word. Forget barbecue McNuggets. It's David Mustache.
Yeah, see you in 2 weeks. I don't know what we're gonna watch. We'll
I
see.
don't know. Space Jam again.
Space Jam. God no. Help us. Oh, the Holy Grail. I want to watch Monty Python. Are you here? Are you still listening?
Are you listening? Are you listening?
Listen. Okay, so listen, Phil.
Okay, I'm listening.
I totally forgot about this. This was going to be the first thing we're going to talk about, but then you talk about Evangelion, and I completely forgot about this.
Evangelion.
But I'm sorry, at the evangelical. So listen, I was going to talk about this the first thing because something came out, something related to this podcast. And you brought it up on our Instagram thing because
what did you think? Did you like it? I thought it was funny.
Yeah, I thought it was funny, but I was like when it came. So the trailer for the new Spider-Man came out.
Spider-Man No Way Home.
Spider-Man No Way Home. No Way Home. And I was like, the first thing when the podcast we start recording, the first thing we're going to talk about is we're going to talk about this trailer because
what happened.
Because, I mean, the first episode of Twofold podcast, we compare the new Spider-Man, the last Spider-Man that came out, Spider-Man Far From Home, which is Spider-Man 2 in the MCU.
Yeah. And then we have Spider-Man 2 from 2004.
Spider-Man 2. And we have this, this difference of opinions of,
Spider-Man never dies.
You guys love Spider-Man 2.
That's right.
I freaking hate Spider-Man 2.
That's right.
And we had this great conversation, and there was two existing camps that we could fight. But then this new trailer of Spider-Man comes out.
What happens, Tim?
It's all mushed. It's all mushed together. It is mushy pushy.
Tim, what do we do?
They're converging. Who would have anticipated this? What we have to, and we're going to have to wait until December to talk about this mushy experience. Now,
yeah,
you made this little comic of me being upset by the mushiness
on our Instagram at Twofold Podcast, I think.
Yeah, this
on
is
Instagram.
True. I was talking about Instagram, but completely forgot to mention our names. Jake is going to kill me for botching those, but whatever. The point is that you made me like the last face was like, oh, like what is this? But to me, it was like, what is this? What is happening? This is gonna be interesting. It's gonna be
Parker,
dreadful,
and the girlfriend.
It's gonna be something. This is gonna be, it's like when The Hobbit was coming out. Where Star Wars.
Are you losing faith? Are you losing faith in the Marvel brand?
I mean, I'm very I'm not very, how would you say that word? I'm not
partial.
Yeah, I guess I'm partial. What's the opposite of partial? Like, I guess invested. I'm not like, if a Marvel comes out with like garbage, I'm not like, oh, what happened? I'm like, okay, that's garbage. Let's see what else they have. It's not, if it goes to hell, I'm not invested in it, like emotionally.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to be hurt because Marvel makes a bad movie. My existence is not.
Okay, let's keep talking. Spider-Man.
So Spider-Man.
No Way Home.
What did you think of? What do you think of the mush?
I think I won't deny. I learned my lesson from Jurassic World.
Yes.
I don't know if you remember, but listeners, we had a podcast called Phil and Jake in Conversation. 2015. And that wasn't even the beginning of our podcast, but it was 2015, and we talked about Jurassic World. I remember Tim said it was pee-pee caca, or poo-poo caca, at least.
It was garbage.
And I remember my stance. My stance was, it was stupid, but I loved it, or I liked it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because I was, admittedly, caught into the hype of the references, the member berries.
The nostalgia got you.
I remember.
Got you, sniped you.
Yeah, it did, because I didn't expect them to reference Jurassic Park so much, but I was foolish.
Mm-hmm.
Might be wrong, but I think those were one of the first movies to come out that were heavily kind of like remember.
Right.
I'm not sure if that's the case or not, but I was into it and I thought it's stupid and dumb, but I love that the Raptor music from the PlayStation game from Lost World was the Raptor music in, Jurassic World,
Right, yeah.
And I love the Jeep, and it's like, I love that they said, yeah, that old park, that was legit, when they said that. But look, watching it again, hated that movie. So it wears out. It's
right.
In essence, it's exciting, it's fun, but it has no weight at all. You get used to it. It's
support
done.
itself.
It's
with
a
nostalgia.
Exactly. Yeah, you can't. So I'm looking at this, and I mean, I won't say it's not cool to see Doc Ock, Alfred Molina, and I won't say I wasn't surprised seeing the Goblin, the Willem Dafoe Goblin pumpkin bomb and him laughing. I was like, I didn't expect Willem Dafoe. And so I'm curious to see. But at the end of the day, I'm going to say story has to be good. If the story ain't good. Also, I feel like, this is my opinion, I'm afraid that this movie is trying to erase the shock,
Bad parts.
the shock moment of Far From Home, where he's like, he's Peter Parker's Spider-Man.
Right.
Everybody knows, because they can't think of stories to do with Peter Parker's Spider-Man. He has to get that back, and at the same time, do the multiverse so we can get more of those member berries in.
Right. Yes.
That's how it feels like to me. I'm not gonna say, oh, I can't wait to see that fail, because I don't know. But that's how it feels like with that trailer.
Very similar. It's a difficult task to make that move. What we've seen with Peter Parker, the big cliffhanger. Peter Parker has been revealed. It's a big change for the character of Spider-Man and Peter Parker. Then you have the multiverse, and then you have all these, not just a multiverse of unknown characters, but a multiverse of characters from other movies
in the real world.
That's a lot to handle. So I'm curious to see how they do it, and I'm really looking forward to the conversation about this.
Yeah, me too. We got to get Jake in as well.
Yeah, it's going to be great. I can't wait to see that and talk about it. Whether they fail or they succeed, it's going to be an interesting conversation.
Yeah, it is.
Nonetheless.
It is. Yeah.
That's so good. Okay. That's it.
Spider-Man.
That's it. Thank you for waiting for the secrets.
Instagram at Twofold Podcast.
And Letterboxd Twofold Podcast. And everywhere else. We're everywhere.
Bye.